literally almost lost everything, but you still had this belief that like, okay, I don't know when, but I'm gonna have a better place. I'm gonna have the love of my life. I'm gonna be making 5 times more money than I am now. You just have that belief in your mind. The thing with being successful that we have to learn is we cannot have an emotional attachment to every single thing in our lives. Even if you don't have faith in a higher power, do you have faith in yourself? Do you have faith that things can work out for you? The people at the top, the people who are finding success and making money, they are collaborating. Okay, the people at the top are collaborating. Somebody is going to think that your ideas are extreme. Somebody is going to think that you're way ahead of yourself, right? And that's okay. Welcome to Let's Just Be Real with me, your host, Marissa Tong. I'm a multi-passionate creative entrepreneur who's on a journey to create my dream life in a world where adulting just gets too real sometimes. On this podcast, we talk about all things beyond surface level to leave you feeling inspired to think bigger, unapologetically prioritize your self-care, and discover your true, authentic self. Think of me as your unfiltered but wise auntie who just wants the best for all of us. So grab your journal or maybe a glass of wine and let's get real. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Let's Just Be Real podcast. Happy Wednesday if you're listening to this on a Wednesday. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys are having a beautiful start to September. And if you tuned into our last episode last week, you know that we are just warming up again for season 5. We took a nice little summer break and we are back. We're back with some guest episodes this month, which will be premiering next week. I'm really excited to dive into some fresh topics of conversation with some brand new guests. So really excited for that. And today we're going to be diving into a conversation that I think is really important. I've been thinking about it a lot, and a lot of people tend to either compliment me on this or ask me for advice. So today's conversation is going to be all about success. And I think that our generation right now, or at least with just the internet and social media, I think that there is this high level of obsession with success, wealth, money, validation, getting everything that you want, but sometimes like it's not even what you really want. It's what you see other people having or what you think success should be defined as. So today we're going to talk about what it means to actually be successful. What does that even mean to be successful? Like, is it once you've hit, 6 figures in your career, your business? Is it hitting a mill? Is it people following you on Instagram and you having over 100K subscribers? First of all, I think we need to start with your definition of success, right? I think for everybody, that's going to look a little different, right? That's going to look a little different. For some people, again, like I said, it could mean external validation, that people are validating them in some way and giving them praise or recognizing them for their accomplishments or things that they have done or things that they have been working on the past couple years, couple months, whatever, right? And then for some people, that could look more like quiet success, where they are maybe reaping the benefits of having a business or something where they don't have to show up publicly. That could be something like affiliate marketing. That could be something like digital products. That could be something like being an author, right? Where you're not constantly maybe putting your face out there or needing that constant validation, but you're still finding success in your finances, your projects, your artistry, your creativity, whatever, right? So first, I think first step for you, right, listening to this, maybe you are in a place where you feel like you're getting to that point of success, or maybe you feel like you're kind of like in that in-between stage where you're maybe seeing some progress, maybe you're seeing some results, but you're still not quite there yet, right? And let's be real. What does that even look like to be at that place of success in your life where you feel like, okay, I made it. I don't have anything more to do. I don't need to do anything else. I don't need to make any more money. Like, do we ever even reach that point? Because I don't think we do. I don't think we do. And there's been so many people over the past years that have complimented me or recognized me or reach out to me, and they're just like, oh my God, I see your growth. I see you doing this, and I've watched you do this. Like, my friend was visiting from Jersey, visiting me in Cali 2 weeks ago. Was it 2 weeks ago? Yeah, almost 2 weeks ago. And, he was like talking about how he remembers when I started teaching my classes back in Jersey. And this was almost, yeah, like 10 years ago. And he's like, it's crazy to just have watched your success and watch you bloom. And now, like, watching you have this company and this team, and like now moving to Cali, like, it's just amazing. And sometimes we don't always realize those things. And yeah, we might know them, right? It's like, okay, yeah, I've been working on this for 10 years, but how often do we sit down and actually give ourselves the praise and the credit and the validation that we need to come from ourselves so that we can continue going, right? Sometimes we're constantly looking, and I have so many episodes about external validation, and obviously this ties into your confidence and your level of self-worth, but I think it's most important and it's more valuable and meaningful when we can acknowledge our success and our progress without needing other people to do that first, right? It's nice when other people can do that, right? And maybe it's a different perspective. But when we're able to do that for ourselves and we're able to look and be like, okay, like, I'm not doing too bad, like, I've been able to accomplish this, or I've been able to hit these milestones in my life, and now I'm seeing the fruits of my labor. Like, that's a beautiful thing. So today I'm going to be sharing a few ways that I feel like you can be successful, or we can continue to be successful, or what it actually takes. What does it actually take to be successful? I also have people who reach out, they want mentorship, or they'll ask me specific questions. They'll ask for advice on certain things. And a lot of the times it's like, how did you do this, right? It's always a lot of like hows. And sometimes, like, yeah, like, how is great, but my how might not be your how, right? The way that I was able to do something might not be the same way that you're going to be able to do something, based on our skill sets, based on our level of intelligence, based on our creativity, based on our drive, right? So those are all things that really matter. So number one for me is going to be staying focused on your goal and your growth over time, right? If you are losing sight of the goal, if you are getting discouraged often because you're not getting the outcome that you want, you're not finding the daily success, quote unquote, whether that's sales, whether that is emails, whether that is just finding collaborations, contacts, whatever that looks like for you, if you're not seeing those constant little milestones of progress as often as you would like, right? And we talk a lot about God's timing and divine timing on this podcast as well. But it's really important to focus on, I don't want to just say the end goal, because what is really the end goal, right? Going back to like, what is your ultimate definition of success, right? But I think knowing, right, having a vision on where you want to go, right? Whether that is your business, your personal career, your artistry, your creativity, any of that, right? What is the ultimate goal? Like, where do you want to be? Is it that you want to get to the point where you don't have to work as hard? Is it that you want to get to the point where you can travel and do your work? Is it that you want to get to the point where you are making residual income, where you don't have to like show up and clock in every single day? Like, what is that ultimate goal for you? So continuing to focus on that goal, right? And also recognizing your growth, right? Tracking your growth. I talk a lot about that too on the podcast. And if you guys have purchased my journal in the past, then you know there is like a growth tracker in the journal where you can go back and you can kind of like track your progress with different parts of your life, right? Not just career and business or your job, right? But also with family, with relationships, with mental health, with your spirituality. So having some type of growth tracker, whether that is, again, a journal, whether that is a whiteboard, or some place where you can just keep track of what you're doing and what you're accomplishing. Something I like to do is write down my milestones for each quarter. So Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. I like to write down in my Notion template at the top, and I'll write down the things that I've accomplished within those quarters, right? So like quarter one, oh, great, we were able to get this training launch or whatever. And then by the end of the year, I'm like, damn, I did all this. Like, that's crazy, right? And sometimes we don't even realize that we have done all those things until later, or until someone brings it up, or until someone asks us, right? So having that clear vision and being able to track where you are going is definitely the key to success. Okay, number 2 for me is going to be ignoring other people's opinions and really staying focused on what you want, right? And I'm going to be real, you got to be a little crazy, okay? You got to be a little off to somebody. Somebody's going to think you're off. Somebody is going to think that your ideas are extreme. Somebody's going to think that you're way ahead of yourself, right? And that's okay. And that is okay, because there is always going to be at least one or two people that are going to doubt you, people who are going to hate on you, people who don't believe in you. And that is okay. We got to stay unbothered. I have a whole episode where I was talking about how to stay unbothered. So if you need to tap into that, go back and listen to that episode, okay? But a lot of the times, if we do not believe in ourselves, if we do not believe in our own abilities, in our gifts, and our capabilities, and we're just allowing other people to tell us what we can and can't do, mostly can't, right? We are never going to be successful because we're always allowing, again, those external opinions. And most of the time, let's be real, these are people who have not done the things that we're even trying to do. They have not done half the things that you have even done up until this point, right? But they don't believe in you because they know it's not possible for them, or they don't want to see you get to this point of a high level, of success. So they're going to try their best to have you, in your mind, like, oh my God, I can't do this. She's right. Like, what the hell am I doing? Perfect example. I'm sure there are so many people when I said I was moving to Cali that were like, oh, bitch, you're bugging. You're bugging out. Like, why don't you keep your ass right in New Jersey and continue playing it small? Or continue doing, whatever you're doing. Like, you have this business that you've built. Why don't you focus on that in New Jersey? I'm sure there's so many people who in their mind thought that. Or I'm sure there's people who are just like, oh, I can't wait till she moves back. I know it's not going to work out for her. California is expensive. Like, and if I allowed those opinions of other people to affect me, I would never be where I am today. I would never be out here making shit happen for myself. I'd just be a sad girl, sitting in the house, like doubting myself. But because my own belief in myself, and honestly, I'm gonna be real, like my level of delusion is so ridiculous and high. Like those things and those opinions do not matter to me. I kid you not. Like they actually fuel me as a Scorpio. Like if you doubt me or you tell me that you don't think I could do something, oh, please believe, honey. Now you gave me the power, the energy, the motivation to keep going and make sure that I do accomplish those things. So don't play with it. Okay. Don't play with it. So if you have those people in your life, or you can even like sense that energy, a lot of the times, like we don't even need to hear people say the words. It's all about energy, right? People just lurking, watching your stories, not liking your post that maybe you're viral, not liking your post that are talking about your successes or showing your accomplishments. When you start to notice things like that of people not liking certain things, and I don't want to just pertain this to social media, this can also relate to like family, maybe your parents not supporting you or not wanting you to go after a certain thing because they don't believe that it's possible for you, right? I don't want to just keep it within that social media construct because, yeah, there's always going to be like ghost followers and haters. Let's be real, okay? But energetically, if you start to notice that, those people don't need to be around you. Those people, you don't need to be talking to those people about your goals. This is one thing about me. My friends know this about me really well, okay? I do not share things that I am working on. I do not share things that I am manifesting. I do not share relationships that I'm, involved with until I feel like they're at a place where I have reached a level of success or satisfaction with them. And now I want to share it with the public. Okay. And you could call this woo woo, superstitious, whatever, whatever. Okay. But when I went to Greece, honey, let me tell you about these Greek people. Okay. They believe in the evil eye with such conviction. Like it's so crazy. Evil eye everywhere. Evil eye pen, evil eye keychains, evil eye bags, evil eye everywhere. And their whole thing is there are a lot of people out here who do not want the best for you. There are a lot of people out here who might give you a compliment, but it's like an underhanded compliment, right? They might be like, oh, you're so pretty. But in their mind, like they're hating on you, right? They don't want the best for you. They might wish you well in your pregnancy, but low key wishing that your child came out ugly. Like this is real shit, okay? So it's the same concept. Like, why am I going to share things that I feel like are sacred in my life or things that I am currently manifesting that I haven't seen even come to reality, but I'm going to talk about it with people who probably don't even want that for me? Like, goodbye. Miss me with that. Okay. Nah, we're not doing that. So I want you to be so delusional. I want you to really believe in yourself. Keep other people's opinions, thoughts out of your field, out of your energetic field. We do not need that. We do not want that. If people are not supporting you 100%, stop talking to them about your goals. And this is going to tie into the third way that we can really be successful is really thinking outside of the box, right? And this can tie into, again, being like delusional, a little crazy, a little off to people, right? But you have to think outside the box. You have to think bigger. You have to think different from the normal person, from the everyday person who is maybe just trying to do what everybody else is doing, just hopping on trends, trying to be seen, trying to be heard, trying to follow the crowd, right? We have to think differently. Okay. And maybe we want the same results. Maybe we want the same successes. Maybe you do want to be flying out to Thailand, Bali, Turks and Caicos every other month. I don't know. Okay. Whatever your personal goal is. But sometimes, in order to achieve those things or get those things, we have to think a little different. Okay. We got to be a little innovative. We have to think, oh, if this person is doing this and this is their strategy, how can my strategy be different? Where maybe now I can get a completely different result instead of this whole copycat method. You cannot be authentically successful. Notice the word that I'm using here, authentically. You cannot be authentically successful long term and have longevity in your success in your career if you were just copying everybody else's blueprint. If you were constantly just picking up what everybody else is doing, right? You're just little fragments of everybody else. You need to think for yourself. You need to have your own mind. You need to have your own creativity. You need to have your own belief in yourself. You need to have your own ideas of what, again, is possible for you. So thinking outside the box is going to be key to your success. Okay, before we get too real into this conversation, I want to interrupt by inviting you to a very special event happening in 2026. I'm so excited to announce the Soul and Senses retreat in Bali, Indonesia. If you've been craving a reset, the kind that nourishes your body, calms your mind, and reconnects you to your purpose, then let me personally invite you to my retreat, Soul and Senses in Bali, happening April 7th to the 13th in 2026. We'll spend 6 nights in 2 luxury hotels in Seminyak, which is a beautiful, lively beach city. And then we'll spend 3 nights in Ubud, which is the jungle. It's spiritual, it's sacred, it's the place where you can really connect with your soul. We'll be surrounded by palm trees, soul-aligned women, and the most beautiful energy that you've ever felt. You'll experience dance, somatic movement, deep stretching on a daily basis, healing and grounding practices, jungle excursions and private cultural tours, meditations, journaling workshops, and spiritual connection. There are plenty of nights where you can have fun and plenty of nights to also unplug. If you're feeling like, low key and you don't feel like going out, that's okay too. Our retreats are meant to help you follow your intuition and really give your body what it's craving at the time. It's safe, it's sacred, and it's exactly what you didn't know you needed. Spots are limited for this retreat and it's going to sell out. So if you're ready to reconnect with yourself in paradise, definitely make sure you go to our website. It's linked in the show notes. Or you can send me a DM saying Bali on Instagram and I'll send you the link to register. This is not just a vacation, it's a soul shifting experience. So if you're ready to step into the next version of yourself and connect with yourself on a deeper level while being in one of the most beautiful places on earth, then I invite you to book today and I'll see you there. The next component of being successful is going to be pivoting and knowing when to switch things up. Okay. Now, I feel like in the past 5 years, everybody has been forced to pivot in some way since 2020. Okay. Everybody has been forced to try something different, try something new, move in a different direction, switch it up, whether that's career, whether that's looks, whether that's strategy, whether that is the way that you're presenting yourself or your offerings, right? Pivoting is so important because it allows us to take ourselves outside, right? Take ourselves outside of the current reality of what's happening. Maybe your business is not working. Maybe you've tried this strategy for the past 2 years and like you're just not getting sales, you're just not seeing success, you're not seeing any changes, right? That is a key that you probably need to pivot. And sometimes pivoting doesn't always mean like completely switching things up, like going from running a, let's say you have a microblading business, right? You do eyebrows, to now like going and selling freaking cars. Like, I don't know, not completely discounting your dreams, right? Or not completely just banishing your goals. And I wouldn't say that you need to change your whole identity or that you need to change your gifts or talents. Like, your gifts and your talents are your gifts and your talents. So even if you're moving to a different industry, or maybe you're just switching things up as far as, again, like your offerings or your approach, right? It could also be your approach. Like, okay, this strategy on Instagram isn't working. Maybe Instagram isn't working at all. Maybe I need to move to YouTube. Maybe I need to move to TikTok, right? So that's an example of pivoting, right? Just knowing, like, having that clear observation that this isn't working. So let's try something else, right? And the idea of pivoting isn't this certainty of thinking like, okay, this is definitely going to work out if I try this. No, pivoting and trying something new, it's all a risk. It's always going to be a risk. Every time you try something new, every time you switch into a new identity or you decide to do things completely different, it's going to be a risk, right? A lot of people, they might not adapt to it. You might get a completely different audience, right? You might get people who they don't know this new person, right? They're so used to you microblading, and now it's like, girl, you selling cars, right? But then once you start selling cars or whatever, you might get the people that are like, oh shoot, like, I'm definitely trying to get this car. Like, now that I know, you could get me a nice deal, I'm gonna hit you up. And then they start referring friends, family, coworkers. Now you have a booming car sales business. So don't be afraid to pivot. Don't be afraid to pivot. I think it can be a scary thing for sure. Like, just thinking, damn, right? And I think the thing with being successful that we have to learn is we cannot have an emotional attachment to every single thing in our lives, right? Especially when it comes to material things or when it comes to money. If we are emotionally attached to the outcomes of those things, right? I need to sell this in order to make this money. And if I don't, I'm a failure. If you have that mindset, you will not be successful, right? You have to have this detachment. Like, okay, we didn't sell this. This didn't work out. Unfortunately, we had to cancel this event or whatever the case, right? But I know that from this experience, like, I can learn what didn't work and now I can apply those lessons to the next thing, right? Or I can be bold enough to try something else. Or maybe like this isn't even what I wanted to do, honestly. And now I can really put my time and energy and effort into something that I really want to do. And maybe now that will work out. But you can't have like this attachment to it, because every time something doesn't work out, kind of what we talked about in the last episode, this idea of rejection. If we're not able to handle rejection and failure, then we will never be successful, because you're just always going to be discouraged, disappointed in yourself. You're not going to have the motivation to keep going, and then you're not going to find success. So I want to encourage you to pivot, okay? Pivot, and make it cute, make it fun. Oh my God, y'all. So I just bought a brand new pair of professional dance heels from Berger Shoes, and I am completely obsessed.
These are not only fashionable, but they're completely, absolutely comfortable. They're so lightweight, they fit my foot like a glove, and my feet are just completely happy. Versus when I first started taking heels classes and teaching heels classes, I was just picking up random heels from department stores and they were killing my feet. My feet would be swollen, I would have blisters, they would scuff up the floor at the dance studio. So I'm so happy that I came across Berju shoes. These are without a doubt the best heels in the industry, and a few celebrities, including Chloe Bailey, J Lo, and Megan Thee Stallion, have been spotted wearing these during their big performances. So you know they're good. You absolutely need to invest in yourself this year and stop wasting your money on shoes that will only last you a week, girl, okay? If you're looking to level up and get into your heels bag and, just build your confidence, you're gonna need the right shoes. So these shoes will completely level up your dancing and help build your confidence because you're not worried about how your feet feel. Me and my clients have been wearing Berju shoes for a few years, and I'm honestly never gonna switch back. Like, I would never switch back to a department store heel, okay, honey? These shoes are lightweight, stylish, durable, and they come in a variety of different heel heights and styles for every different type of dance. The service is incredible, and if you need to exchange a size, they'll quickly help you do that. I do recommend ordering one full size up since these shoes are meant to hug your foot. So check out the amazing selection at berjushoes.com. Use my discount code RISFITKitty. That's RISSFITKITTY to save some cash on your next purchase. And let's get to dancing.
Okay, the next way that we can find success in our lives is by being a team player, collaborating, and not being afraid of working with other people. Okay, this is huge. This is huge. And it's funny because I was just talking to somebody the other day who we're in the same industry as far as like teaching dance fitness. And we were talking about how some people can be so freaking weird and competitive when it comes to maybe like a new person coming in their area or like their dance studio or their gym teaching, and they're like, oh my god, like, who is this, who's this person, like they're trying to steal my clients, they're trying to steal my students. Like, when I tell you I have been through this, honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't been through this only a select number of times. Okay, I've been teaching dance and dance fitness for 10 years. And I can say, this definitely happens more so with the Zumba world. I'm sorry, I'm calling it out Zumba, but it's really like the communities, right? It's not necessarily like Zumba corporate or whatever, but I think it's just the communities within Zumba sometimes, like they just feel like there's this competition because Zumba is so broad, right? And I don't want to make this episode about Zumba, but I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna speak my piece, okay? Any and everybody can become a Zumba instructor. Your grandma, your mom, your uncle, your dad. So, with this abundance of Zumba instructors, right, you can get Zumba anywhere. And because these instructors know that, they feel threatened when somebody who might be better than them, quote unquote, comes into their space, right, or their city or whatever. And it's like, oh my God, I gotta fight for my students and I gotta fight for my class because this person might be better than me and there's a million Zumba classes and I gotta prove my worth and I wanna keep my status. And if that is your mindset, babe, you are not going to find success. I promise you that. Because the people at the top, the people who are finding success and making money, they are collaborating. Okay. The people at the top are collaborating. They're smart. Okay. They're finding people who align with them. They're finding like minded individuals. They're finding people who are equally yoked, equally talented, maybe a little bit more talented, maybe a little bit less talented. You don't always have to be the same, right? But a real person who is focused on success and focus on the ultimate goal of I want to be this or I want to offer this, right? And a lot of the times too, when we're talking about business specifically, okay, because I know a lot of y'all are aspiring entrepreneurs or you have a business or you are maybe thinking about starting a business. This is the thing. When you're not open to working with other people and you're just trying to hoard and gatekeep, whatever it is that you have going on, your talents, your success, your people, your community, your money, it's going to be really hard for other people to approach you. And when people are not able to approach you, when people feel like you're standoffish or that you are competitive or that you have some type of like weird ego, people are not going to want to approach you. And that means a loss in opportunities. You're going to miss out on opportunities that could have come to you, right? Referrals, people inviting other people, their friends or whatever, to go and support you in any way or to work with you, right? Coming on a podcast, any of those things. If you have this demeanor, this ego, this aura that you are not open and willing to work with other people, that's just going to go out into the universe. People are going to feel that energetically. Again, going back to energetics, they're going to feel that. They're going to see that. Maybe you have some experiences where people have had a bad experience working with you. They're going to go and tell other people. So if you're not able to work with people in any capacity, right? Again, that can also be like teammates, just being on a team, working with other people, not feeling like you're better than anybody else, not feeling like you have a chip on your shoulder, being open also to criticism, being open to feedback, right? These are all qualities of a good team player, right? Even like with my team, if somebody on my team were to tell me like, oh, this is wrong, or fix this, or this doesn't look right, or I don't feel like this was the right way to do this or handle this or whatever. Like I ask my team for feedback all the time. And sometimes it's more, specific with certain people where I have like a better relationship with them. I will reach out and I'll be like, hey, was I wrong in this situation? Or what is your feedback? What are your thoughts on this situation? If you cannot be that, you cannot be successful. Okay, especially if you're trying to be a leader, especially if you're trying to be some type of CEO, founder, head of a company, head of a team, whatever. Like, if you are not open to working with people, receiving feedback, receiving criticism, being open to working with other people, respecting other people's opinions, thoughts, boundaries, then it's going to be really hard for you to find success. And the last way that we can find success is to constantly be working on ourselves, our faith, our confidence, and our courage. And I talk about this so much, especially on my Substack. If you guys are not following me on Substack and you like to read, then I would definitely recommend going and subscribing and reading some of my work. Everything's linked in the show notes. But I feel like this past year on my Substack, I've been writing a lot about courage, right? Courage and faith. Courage and faith, having the faith to believe in myself, having the faith to be able to make this big move by myself, having the faith to continue expanding my business, having the courage to stand up for myself, having the courage to pitch, having the courage to try new experiences, to meet new people, to work with new people and collaborate. These are all things that we need to constantly be working on, right? Building faith, building courage, building that confidence in ourselves. And faith is something that I feel like it's definitely a spiritual thing, right? When we think about faith, but even if you don't believe in God, which I don't know if you'd be listening to this podcast if you didn't, right? But even if, let's play devil's advocate here, okay? You don't believe in God, you don't believe in any type of like spiritual higher power, right? Even if you don't have faith in a higher power, do you have faith in yourself? Do you have faith that things can work out for you? Do you have faith that things are always working in your favor? For me, my faith is spiritual based, right? So having the faith that God is going to constantly provide for me, support me, show up for me, things are always going to work out in my favor. I'm constantly being guided by God and the universe, my ancestors, my spirit guides, whatever you believe in. And that's the thing with faith too. It is personalized. Your faith doesn't have to look the same as someone else's, right? Someone who's of Muslim faith is not going to be the same as someone with Christianity faith, okay? And that's okay. Because guess what? Your faith does not need to be validated by anybody else. So, whatever I believe in, right? Whatever I'm telling myself to increase my faith, that has nothing to do with you, right? That has nothing to do with you. And however you are continuing to grow your faith, that has nothing to do with me. So faith is a very personal thing. It's a very personal thing, but we have to have it. If you do not have faith, that means that you do not believe in yourself. You do not believe that you are capable of becoming successful and that the things that you want are possible in your life. Okay. Faith and success, they go hand in hand. So if you're constantly having that doubt, that self doubt, if you're constantly talking down on yourself, if you're constantly reminiscing on what did not go well, if you're constantly focused on the negative, if you do not believe that the work that you're putting in is going to have a good outcome, then that's just going to be it. Okay. So your faith is directly tied to your success, period. And then the more that you have proof of your faith, right? I think I wrote a Substack on this, just like having proof. What is proof? Proof is, okay, I prayed for this. I wrote down these things in my journal. I've been manifesting these things. Some people don't like to use that word, but let's just say like I've been planning on receiving these things, right? I wrote it down 6 months ago. 6 months later, two of those things showed up. How did they show up? Right? It's because you believed that they could show up. It's because you believed in your mind when you wrote those things down that they were possible for you. So they happened because you believe it was possible. And obviously, you probably took aligned action. You probably continued to pray if you do pray. And that's how faith works. And then you just continue to have that proof, right? You can go back and you can look. And that's why, like, I really advocate for journaling because it's literally proof that you are writing these things down, right? Like 2 years ago, you could have been in a horrible place in your life where you literally almost lost everything, but you still had this belief that like, okay, I don't know when, but I'm gonna have a better place, a better apartment. I'm gonna have the love of my life. I'm gonna be making 5 times more money than I am now, right? You just have that belief in your mind. And then when those things happen, it's like, it's a sigh of relief. And that's the proof that you need to keep going, right? And then that's how your faith continues to build because it's like you have all this proof that these things are coming into your field. So I hope that you guys got something from this episode today. I love talking about just like success and growth and personal development. You guys know, like, I'm obsessed with becoming a better person. I'm obsessed with also elevating the people around me. I'm obsessed with just building this life that means so much to me. And I hope that you guys got some of my my energy today and that you were feeling hopeful and that you are ready to step into this next successful era of your life. But I also want to end by saying that even though you might not be exactly where you are, I don't want you to discount where you have been and the accomplishments that you have already made. Okay. So go back again, track your growth. It's September. Okay. Get into a new routine. Start writing down little wins, whether that's every single day or every single week. What were your wins for yesterday? What were your wins for last week? All right. Drop a comment. Let me know what your win was for this week or for August. I don't know. Drop a comment. Let me know what you thought about this episode if you are listening on Spotify or YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Substack, TikTok, all the things, all the places. Everything is linked in the show notes. Rate us and review us if you love the podcast. I'm so grateful for you guys listening and tuning in. And I will see you guys in another episode. Bye, y'all.